My name is Elizabeth Marshall Thomas. I'm a writer, and I'm going to read a little from a book that I've just finished. This is the book. I'm an authority about old age. Many books have been written about old age, many, but they're usually by people substantially younger than me. And I am writing about it because I experienced it. How growing old is what it's about. Okay. Why write a book about old age? Nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. When I told a friend what I was doing, she said sarcastically, "That sounds like fun, because except for senior discounts, we see nothing good about it. When it comes, we try to hide it while our minds and bodies crumble, and death is our only escape." But this view is needlessly negative. Death is the price we pay for life. Only plants, animals, fungi, and single-cell organisms have it, and all of us pay for it sooner or later. Like most of us, I see the price as extra high, something like getting a six-figure credit card bill. Wouldn't it be nice to avoid it? I live in rural New Hampshire, and when I looked around for a debt-free entity, I saw just grasses and trees. That didn't help. All of them will pay the price just like I will. Then I saw a stone in my field. 300 million years ago, about 10 miles below the Earth's surface, this stone was formed. Somehow it got squeezed up and out, and in 10,000 BC, a glacier brought it to the place where I saw it. By then it was 29 million years old. What's that like? You see what it's like if you imagine time as distance, and picture the time between now and 10,000 BC as 1 foot on a very long ruler. The rock was formed 5 miles away on that ruler. In 1935, my father brought me to the same place. I was 4 years old, and since then I've seen some changes. The trees are taller. A pond appeared when my dad made a dam in a stream, and the town paved the dirt road that went by our house. All that was quite something, especially the road, because soon after it was paved, the town changed the name. This took emotional adjustment on our part. But consider the stone. Assuming it popped from the earth in a good place and had consciousness, it could have watched evolution transform a single-cell organism into a Tyrannosaurus rex, and later watched another dinosaur transform into a bird. With life and consciousness, the stone could have known what influenced these transitions: the climate changes, the great extinctions, and the great recoveries. Just in my area, it would have seen the glacier melting, the frozen earth recovering, plants starting to grow, and wildlife starting to flourish. Mammoths and cave lions passed by this stone. Pennacook and Abenaki people camped near it. European settlers arrived, built a house and a barn, and cut down hundreds of trees to make a field. This last is but a nanosecond in the stone's long existence. Even the scientists will never know what the stone could have known if it had life and consciousness. But as far as the stone is concerned, nothing happened. It doesn't even know when it rains. If you can imagine existing for 300 million years without knowing that you did so, I think you might agree that life with a price seems better than eternal existence for free. Our kind, the living organisms, have existed as such for as long as the stone. But unlike the stone, we don't keep the same forms. We improve our species by reproducing ourselves, often without replicating ourselves exactly, and the little changes give natural selection unlimited opportunities to fix us. Thus, like the stone, life forms are still on Earth after 3 billion years, but our journey was more exciting. Every one of our lives was a little window to the world with all its activity and attraction. To be alive is to experience, and throughout our lives, we gain experience, beginning with birth, which if we're humans is when we slide from a tight, wet, warm environment into a vast, almost empty, chilly environment with air, light, scent, and sound all around us, and big scary creatures looming over us. As for information, at this time in our lives, we're just a tad more aware than the stone. The end of our journey appears as we age, having collected a mixture of facts, friends, relatives, mistakes, triumphs, tragedies, and possessions. Thus, old age is a pre-death transition, and how we perceive it can depend on how far life has brought us. When we're young, death and those approaching it seem to have little to do with us. Old people don't look or act like us. They might almost be different species. As for death, we don't want it, of course, but why worry about it? It seldom happens to young people. We freely do dangerous things. By middle age, we've learned more. We may be only in our 50s, but we know about aging, and we're saying we're not as young as we used to be. We're paying more attention to what we eat and how we exercise. 25 years later, we realized we were spring chickens while having those thoughts, because by then we're approaching the old age transition. Gosh, this is different. Do we feel the transition? We can't run fast and we're careful climbing stairs, but we're still living, so we're lucky. But maybe we're starting to feel unlucky. Living like this, you call this lucky? We're prejudiced against old age. Hopefully this book will help with the prejudice. It mentions the rough parts of aging, but only to tell the whole story. So it's totally truthful, and it points out the good parts too. Of course, we must adjust as best we can, but knowing what's coming can help us prepare and understand.